It is with a great pleasure and immense honour whawhaftai te lava lawa whionga Vui Valerie Alexander Lausunga le loia whawhaftai for joining us this evening. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Maloso fua maumalangi mama talofa lava Seumanu ia whaapere au whaalonglongo o le KOKO Samoa Youth Show. That was a very generous introduction. Thank you so much for having me on tonight. I've just rushed over from another governance workshop, so I'm happy to be able to make it onto your show.
Whawhaftai lava mo le whaavanoina le teimi, and of course to lona lava upa ia sa mawhainga le ainga sa tuala High Chief Vui. Thank you very much and all your accolades, and we honour your families, the villages and your communities that you represent. Whawhaftai te lava for this evening. O upule atanue mo tu pasi le fia ia awali whaafonga anga e mesid mai mohanga tātua tanu. I hand it over to you, Vui, because some of these people, they may have missed your other media interviews and of course the different campaigning and marketing of your amazing work in the community. They may have missed it because there's so much online these days, and so please, over to you for your biographical introductions.
Thank you, Seumanu. I'm not quite sure what to talk about. There's a number of things that I'm involved in, but one of the most important work that I do right now is I am the newly elected chair for the Auckland Regional Executive for the New Zealand School Boards Association. So for many of our listeners that aren't very aware of what happens in that space, so in Auckland alone, we have 556 schools. And each school is governed by a school board, which was formerly known as School Boards of Trustees. Now they are just called school boards. And so with those 556 school boards, the next layer above that, we've got the regions. So we've got regional boards for Auckland, Wellington, Southland, Northland, and so forth. And then at the very top, we've got of that order, we've got the New Zealand School Boards Association. Now, the New Zealand School Boards Association was formerly known as the New Zealand School Trustees Association, and it just had a name change earlier this year at the National Conference. And that NZ-SPA for short. They provide all sorts of services and governance advice to all school boards across New Zealand. So we have about 2,500 member schools that belong to the New Zealand School Boards Association. And so I sit in that regional chair and regional board level for Auckland. So my executive board serves 556 schools. So we provide governance service, advice, support for our schools. When we're talking about schools in Auckland, as many of you will be aware, we've got public schools, private schools, state integrated schools, and special schools like that. So that's some of the work that I've been involved in recently. And earlier today, we had the second Pacifica Talanoa session, which was organized and run by my Auckland Regional Board. Now, we had two sessions. The very first one we had was last month, and that was hosted at Ross Common School in Manurewa. And today's one was hosted by St. Paul's College over in Ponsonby. And the purpose behind these Pacifica Talanoa was to bring together board members, which also includes principals and teaching staff, to talk about Pacifica student achievement. As many of you will know, there was a set of statistics that was released a couple of months ago, and where our Pacifica students sit in those results is quite low. And so it was time to bring our board members together to try and, tala noa through what sort of processes and steps we were going to look at to try and help support our Pacifica students and lift those student achievement levels, because they are concerning. So that's some of the work that I've been very
good.
fortunate to be involved in, and it's only going to grow, I suppose, from here on now, because at today's whono and the one we had last month, we received a lot of strong feedback that there's a need and a desire by boards and schools to have more of this, to engage with more of our schools, because as you will be aware, Seumanu, like schools in West Auckland will have different needs from schools here in Auckland Central, and compared that to schools out in South Auckland and over the shore.
Yeah.
So we're trying to bring different demographics together to try to talk and find resolutions to help support our students and also help support our schools. So that's kind of the space that I've been working in lately. It's for some of you out there who think it's a paid job. It's not. Being a board member, there's no money behind it. It's pure passion, dedication, and alofa for our whānau and tamaiti, and just wanting to serve in that space and help them to achieve, because we've got some incredible young guns, and sometimes they don't always have the support that they need in certain areas of their education, and so we want to step in and help support in that way as much as we can.
Beautifully and eloquently put, and whawhataiti rava for that synopsis of your amazing work. Congratulations are in order. Now, if you're Vui for stepping into the chairperson role, and whawhataiti rava lewa manino le saunoanga le awhionga i a Vui, o le taitai whono mo le tātou region i nei au kilani a wā boards a onga, siria i le lima sefuru a onga lo i nei i au kilani, siria i le rua fe lima selau mo New Zealand atoa. A le sunga i a Vui o loo tau mawhai mai pia ina i a maua se whisota inga a tātou tangata ai me se lava boards a o ngata itasi. O le ngaru lue whaatasi. Working together is the key. And lau whionga Vui, just as a question to follow on, whawhataiti lava for your pioneering work, because I'm sure this is the first time we've seen a leader come out to the community. It takes a deliberate approach for you wanting to engage with the community at a grassroots level. So whawhataiti lava and credit to you and the team. For mai se tasi whaitau, it takes a village to raise a child, and I've already sort of heard sentiments from your response, your introductory response. Lau sunga Vui, how important is it really for us? Because it's not really a Samoan system, the board system, but perhaps it is similar to our Matai system or the leadership in our families and villages. Perhaps we can adapt and help it make a difference for our students to really excel in their schoolwork.
Yes, thank you, Seumanu. I guess you've made that comparison to our, village and whono back in the Nu'u. And there is a similarity there. So whilst the setup and structure of a board as we know it in our schools may not necessarily come across as something, Pacifica, but it has a lot of similarities with our own structures of the village whongo and how we do things, within our culture, not just the Samoan culture, but all the Pacifica cultures. You referred to it takes a village to raise a child. And, if we think to our own culture, whether it's Samoa, Tongan, Niuean, whatever, that belief and that understanding holds true across all Pacific Islands, that we don't work like boards don't work in silos. They don't just come and sit at board meetings where they make decisions. They also work together with the principal, and they work together with parent communities, and they, engage with their wider community around them to try and come up with all sorts of solutions to address whatever challenges they're going through at whatever point in time. Now, if you compare that to our Samoan culture, our Pacifica culture, we are still very much the same. Ele whaia se tangata to'atasi ia se whaaiunga for anything that happens. Yeah. We sit down as families, we sit down as villages, and we talk about these things. E whaatala noa ia mata upu, so that we can come together with some solutions that work for either the family or the nu'u or the person that it pertains to. In this case, we're talking about our children, our whānau. So while I think that it's not necessarily a Pacifica structure as such, we can adapt it in ways that do address, the Pacifica needs. And it's not just Pacifica, because there's other students of other ethnicities at schools. So we were also looking at Maori, Middle Eastern, Asian students. So there's the ability to do that. And I believe that quite a few of our boards at the Auckland regional level, even the national level, they do things to try and make their boards more that have that kind of connection to their communities. Like, for instance, I can think of one now. So one of the school boards that I sit on, I'm the chair for St. Joseph's School in Greyland. One of the things that we do as a board is that we pray at the beginning and at the end of every board meeting. And we are not the only board that does that. I know other boards across New Zealand that do that. And, that's another example of a similarity that we have with our Pacifica culture. We start and end things with prayers. And with our prayers, like on our school board, it's not in Balang, it's not in the English language. It's in the Samoan language, it's in the Māori language, it's in the languages of our students. So while I take your point that it's not necessarily a Pacifica construct, but we can make it our own in certain ways. Mm-hmm. And there are similarities with how we do things back in the islands.
Wow, no, that is so promising. Very promising, and I love how you use the karakia as one example of uniting the board and the thinking and the pea le tō whāma le whautanga swala upule ai ma whaasoa I fo ia le pulenga whaaftaite le lava. Just my last question for Mole. Thank you, Vui, for your time to Lona Lava, and I'm sure it's a very intriguing topic for those at home who may think and consider getting involved. Pea whai ele ai se tasi e Pasifika I nunga se pulenga. Lona winga ele ai se leo ale Pasifika. If there is no Pacific representation on a board, then how could there be a Pacific voice? Lona winga tā ua tele le tātou awai. It's important for us to get involved. Would you recommend this, Lau Whionga Vui?
Ioi e sa o lau saunoa, Seumanu, e tāua tele le tātou awai, I tātou boards. Yeah, like, for instance, we talked about this at our Pacifica Talanoa earlier today. There was a question that came from the audience. So if we don't have a Pacifica representative on the board, if we don't have a Māori representative on the board, that means we have no voice. While I take that point, we must also look at it in a way that the board is not the be-all and the end-all of of, how we communicate and how we relate to each other in our school community. So as you know, we have things like the Parents Association. We also have committees. So a committee like it could be fundraising, special character, marketing, sponsorship, all those different levels we can get involved in. So e tusa pe a whai ele o iai se sui a tātou tangata Pasifika I to tono tātou board. It doesn't restrict or limit our involvement. We can still get involved in other areas. And quite a few of us parents do. But coming back to your question, I do encourage and support all our mātua that are, Pacific or whatever Pacific ethnicity you are.
Amen.
To please get involved, not just at board level, but also at operational level for our school. Because I know that there are schools that have come to us and have said, look, we're struggling. We don't know how to engage with our Pacifica community. We don't even know how to engage with our wider parent community. So it's not just a challenge for Pacifica, it's a challenge across the board for many schools. They ask for help from our parent community and they're not getting it. And what we must remember as parents, what you do for your schools, what you give back in terms of service, whether it's the parent association, whether it's the board, or the committee for finance committees, or whatever committee that the school has, you must remember that's not just for the school. It's for your child. It's for your children. It's for the children that are there at this particular time. And if you're not stepping up into the governance space or into the operational space to help support our teachers and our principals, then who's going to do it? It puts a lot of pressure on our principals and teaching staff. But not only that, the example that you set by providing this service, providing the support back to Lea Onga or a school board, your children see that. And you are your children's first teachers. So when your children and other children at the school see you stepping up and stepping into these roles, whatever it may be, that's the best example for them growing up. And they learn by example. So I do encourage all our parents to please consider it. We've got school board elections next year. I think it's in September, August or September. Think about running. Think about standing for those board elections. But make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Because board work is tough. It's rewarding, but it's tough. It requires your commitment, it requires your time, and it requires you to love what you do, to be passionate about what you do. And I'm probably gonna I won't, so I'm just gonna say this. We have people that do run for boards and they're there for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And it becomes evident, and it becomes a problem not just for the board but for the school. So please, I'm encouraging you all to just put your hat in there and do consider running, but also do it for the right reasons. It's challenging as it is, and you're not just there to just attend meetings. You're there you will have to do a lot of reading. There's a lot of paperwork involved. There's a lot of understanding things like governance, finance for the school, legal responsibilities, because as board members, you are effectively responsible for everything that happens at that school. So the principal is like the CEO. You hire the principal. The principal is accountable to the board and reports back to the board. But at the end of the day, when everything goes south, it's the board that is held legally responsible. So please, if you do consider running or stepping into that role, do it with the full knowledge that there's responsibilities that you will be held to account for to your school community and to ministries like the Ministry of Education and so forth. But do it, because you've got the best interests of our students at heart.
Astounding, amazing. That is the best pitch I've heard for our school board level elections, prospect nominations by our parent representatives, prospect parent representatives. My lo whawhtai, well articulated, and I love how no filter. My lo vui le toa, sa au le lei ale sau noanga. E le whapea na au le mauai le title, mita i le title, ai le whaia ia fiduciary duties. Ia ma mea loo tamawhai e le board, a wale pulenga, mase le lei, mase tai ao, se manuia, a wātata wā onga. It is apparent and evident that our students are not doing well. Peonei sau noa I le teimi wa sola, our statistics are not looking too good. Te le lava le ngaluenga loo manao mia. And as you being in that space, voi whawhtai te le lava from our community, thank you for having a heart. E te re millionaire I nā ngā luenga tele wa e tamawhai ei, and all the time, inundated schedules, ai whawhtai le loto alofa to your beautiful kids, your families, your community, thus all of us, indirectly as well and directly as well. So thank you very much for your genuine care and passion. Whaamanuia tele le atua maua pēr le tō whā, mai le atua. Ia awale taitaingo tātou board, so that we can see some improved and advanced statistics and outcomes for our students who are seeking their futures through our school system. Ma lo whawhtai. Lau whionga vui, it's been a serious and very challenging and riveting interview, but now just for us to have a quick, just a fast five so that we can get to know the amazing chair of the region, and of course the mover and shaker in the space. Lau whionga vui. It's just a quick game called Fast Five, if that's okay. Lau sunga vui, please, if you can tell all of us your favorite food, Samoan food perhaps.
Favorite Samoan food? So, don't cringe, but I love sea.
Oh.
So for all the sea lovers out there, sea cucumber, yo lo whai valinga.
You're definitely from Savaii then, because the best seas in Salilonga, and yes, you're from Lano. My love of Taylor Whionga Vui. Her favorite food is sea. My mum will get along with you very well. Second question from Mbole Vui. What is your favorite verse or maybe a scripture from the Bible that you try to live by every day?
There's quite a few. I can do all things through Christ.
Amen.
That's probably my favorite, and I carry it everywhere. No matter where life takes me, and even when the going gets tough and I'm, confronted with some challenging things, because I did work for the UN at the International Criminal stage. So there was quite a few things that I can't speak about, but was very confronting. And it's very hard. It's a hard job to be in. And I always carried that verse with me. And it always reminded me that it's not my strength, it's Christ's strength that I depend upon, and that will always get me through anything.
Brilliant. Philippians 4:13. Whawhtai, that's inspirational. E reo se tamai tangata lau whionga. Well done. Thank you for sharing that anecdote. Question number 3 from the Mole Lover. Your favorite song, or maybe your favorite music artist on your playlist?
I have quite a few, but if you ask my children or Christian or anyone, whenever Girls Just Want to Have Fun comes on, that's my song. By Cindy Lauper. So that's my favorite song. My second favorite will probably be I Just Want to Dance with Someone by Whitney Houston.
Of course.
So,
Malo, lava Whitney, Vui, yeah. Oh, dance with somebody, Malo. Okay. Question number 4, please. Who is a role model? Se tasi o tangata dead or alive, se tu lo lava, nengutu maleafi, but a role model to yourself that you would like to share how they inspired you.
My role model throughout life has always been my late father. So I'm the oldest girl in my family, and my father was very much a self-taught man. So, ngā atalanga ia o ngā when he was about standard 4, I think it was. And then he went to work to support his parents and his family back in Samoa. And through his hard work, he was able to put his younger siblings through school and, take care of his family. And he ended up buying land over there, quite a bit of land, and it allowed for his family to become more independent and self-sustaining. And then he moved to New Zealand, met my mom, and he did the same type of work here. And he was a man that valued education. And growing up, he always used to say to me, it doesn't matter that you're a girl. Nā whanua, our greatest Samoan warrior comes from Falealupo, and my mother's from Falealupo. And he'd always say to me, doesn't matter if you're a girl, you can achieve anything you want in life if you do it with faith and hard work. And so with my father, every time I had achieved something, he would always say to me, it's not for your glory, but it's to give back to God. So sometimes when I'd find myself tiring from doing certain work here and there, he'll always say to me, well, God didn't wake up tired and didn't want to give you life. So while you're still alive, ole ngā lue pea, continue to serve, but knowing that your energy, your strength comes from him, and it's for you to give back to him through serving others. So my dad is my role model, always has been. And sometimes it's tough in the professional spheres that I've worked in. Like you yourself, Seumanu, will know that the legal profession is not an easy one. The corporate profession isn't easy as well. And for Pacifica or ethnic women, or women in general, there are quite a few challenges. And so I always remember and carry with me the words of my father. It doesn't matter that you're a female. It doesn't matter that you're a Samoan woman. It doesn't even matter that you're a Pacifica woman. You can do anything if you set your mind to it, you trust in God, and you just do the work.
Amen. So beautiful. You've preached our sermon for tomorrow in advance. Thank you. And please, Laufionga Vui, what is the full name of your dear father who's now in heaven? His full name, just to recognize him.
Yeah, so he's known as Vui Tangaloa Ale Sana Vui.
Oh, nice. All his family and village people will now be nodding their heads. Oh, yes, they must know. Le Awhawhinia Vui. Well done, Laufionga, and great tribute to him. That's how we acknowledge our parents when we have these opportunities. And last but not least, maybe a favorite Samoan dessert. There are so many that makes our diabetes worse, but something that you like to have a treat.
My favorite is biasua.
Oh, yeah.
Absolute favorite. I will pick it over ice cream or anything else.
Very true. Biasua, yeah. Very nice. Yeah, that's our Samoan jelly. Mahalo whawhtai Vui, whawhtai for playing our Fast Five this evening. And I'm going to hand it over to you to conclude our interview. Whatara noanga mana whionga le loia, le taitei whono, tele lava pulo ma taeleni anga waa. From the international sphere to our local sphere, whawhtai te lava for your evidently influence in our communities and great inspiration. And so I hand it over to you, please, Vui, for your talifications, neologism we call for shout-outs to anyone watching and listening.
I don't really know what that is, Seumanu. Do I just make shout-outs to to anyone?
Yes, please. Or your long list of family and friends and fans.
So I'd like to acknowledge all my family from the villages of Falealupo, Lano, Sapapali'i, Iva, who else? Lealatele, Palauli. So that's the Savai Krudan, all my family in New Zealand and around the world who've always supported me. And I've got my son over here keeps saying, hey, don't forget Solo Solo. So all my family in Solo Solo and Apia, Ta'alofa, good to be able to speak to you all this evening. And I want to send a special shout out to my all-time favorite school, St. Joseph School in Grey Lynn. We are a primary school. We are probably the biggest yet smallest primary school in Auckland Central, probably even in Auckland. We've got an amazing principal there and management team and a great set of families that have, we've seen the war zones together. And so I want to acknowledge them and wish them the very best. And also a shout out to my Pacific Blues team and friends, if they're listening. And I think that's it, Seumanu.
Oh, very nice. I'm sure you have a longer list, but thank you for being conscious of our time, and we thank you for your time. It's been a very inspirational, motivational interview and very educational for our community. Whawhataite lava le tautua, ia mau pēr au whionga le tō whā, ai mese le mānosi le tino, mawhau siri le anganga, ia awa le tautua le tātou community. Perhaps future Minister of Education in the making. Talosia whamoemoe lau whionga in the future as you lead us to a brighter and more prosperous future. Manuia telele weekend, and I'm going to play a song for you by Punia Lava'a. Manuia le afiafi whawhataite lava vui. God bless you.
Whawhtai Seumanu, whawhtai fo'i I le au whaalongolongo manuia lava le aso sa pati a tai au.